So it's very rarely I get to do a fireside chat with a founder and a minister at the same time. I don't know when was the last one of you saw such a. So that's Bangalore, where we have such close collaboration. No, sorry, sir. Investor, founder, and a minister, all in the same panel. Where would we see this except Bangalore? So I think Sanjeev was talking about. So first of all, so welcome to the Fireside Chat, sir, and Minister and Harshil, both very close friends and colleagues. I think so. We are already the fintech capital, and I was just discussing with Harshil. Let's look at the 2-3 different verticals that constitute fintech today. We'll look at, of course, payments. We are by far 60% plus between, of course, Razorpay, PhonePe, all of these. We'll look at the broking ecosystem, right, between Grow and Zerodha and these. We have 60% plus. Let's look at insurance, between the digital online insurance, between Digit and Acco. We are already 50-60% plus there. So we are the fintech capital. So we have to make more noise that we are. So the aspiration is to now dominate this whole space and go beyond just being the fintech capital, take the lion's share of fintech in the country. So and I just thought that it's good to set that perspective. And I would like to congratulate the government for all the support to get to this stage, sir. So I wanted to start by saying, we had the task force and the fintech report, and how can we now really dominate the space as a state and as a city?
Like earlier Mr. Sanjeev and the director Rahul pointed out, I think we are growing at an immense pace. Just last year, the fintech industry here was valued at close to around $100 billion. And today is valued, in 2025, it's valued at close to around $145 billion. It's like almost 45% jump for the ecosystem here. And by 2030, it's going to be $550 billion and growing at a staggering rate of 30.55%. So, and also we have this huge, immense potential within India itself. We are a nation of over 1 billion people. So quite naturally, the adoption rate will be quicker, especially pushed by government through UPI and other things. I think what the government can do better or should do better is ensure the fintech sector has a better regulatory processes, quicker regulatory processes. Even if you don't have some regulations, at least allow them to flourish in a sandbox environment, experiment in more secure environments, because ultimately we are playing with data, we're playing with people's data, we're experimenting on scale. And also I think if the fintech sector really needs to grow, whether it's insurance or whether it's payments or anything, I think we need to take it to the bottom of the pyramid. And in that way, the government is building rapidly the digital infrastructure, which will be the backbone at the tier 2 and the rural areas. We are offering the government services extensively on mobiles and electronic electronic payments or electronic services. More than 700 services are right now available. And we are plugging it up with payments as well. So I think, but this should go beyond Karnataka. Karnataka is a little ahead of the curve. We are setting examples for Government of India. We are setting examples for other governments to follow. A lot of state governments seek our help in trying to see what we are doing or trying to see how we have done it. But I think closer collaboration with the industry, better regulatory processes by the government, better and bigger sandboxes for these kind of technologies will help us maintain the leadership role, not only here, and I'm talking about on the global scale. There, I think,
come to that.
yeah. So I think we have immense potential to grow across the country and also on scale across the globe.
Sure, thank you. Harshil, the regulatory thing that Sir talked about, I think it's something I'm sure keeps you awake and every day. You don't know what's the circular that's coming up tomorrow. And what's your, how do you deal with it? And is AI somewhere going to help you be more compliant? And is what's next? Just wanted to get your perspective on and what can the government do better to, of course, AI will help you be ahead of whatever compliance you have to be on top of, but what is it that the government can do to make life easier for you guys on compliance?
See, I think the way, as I spoke about, the way the fintech sector is growing and the way it's touching the life of almost every Indian today, whether it comes to payments, broking, insurance, everything, I think regulation is a part and parcel of it. Whenever you are touching money, whenever you are touching people's livelihoods, of course, there has to be rules around it. There has to be regulations around it. Otherwise, you could be in a situation where a lot of people end up losing money, and then we are back to square one where people don't want to use fintech services anymore. So I think regulation, if you are in the fintech domain, regulation is expected and something that you need to be proactive about. Yeah, the approach that we take as a company is that we just don't follow the regulations. We try to predict, okay, this is a space where concerns could come in, and this is a space where regulations could come in.
Have you started using AI for some?
Yeah, so, and that is where AI can start playing a role. You can be predictive about it. I think the challenge is when regulations come in and you are not prepared and then you are suddenly taken aback. I think two things help there. One, as company, as an industry, what we can do is take our effort in predicting what regulations could be and go to the government and say, hey, this is a new ecosystem coming in. Can you create regulations in this space? Instead of waiting for the regulator to suddenly wake up and realize, hey, this has happened and now we need to create regulations. The second approach, thing that helps is that from the government side is, it is a consultative process in regulations. If they get to speak and voice our opinions on why regulations should be in this way and not that way, and we get to hear what are the concerns that the regulators and the government is thinking about that they are trying to solve the regulations, I think we can work together to co-create. As I said, the regulation is a good thing both for the industry as well as for the ecosystem, as long as we can work together. I think one of the approaches that have helped is the constant dialogues. I think Sir himself has done a lot of those, hosted roundtables with the industry, hear our opinions on what regulations are impacting us, what regulations could become easier, and try to take those viewpoints, whether some of those are at a state level where Sir can help, some of those are at a central level where at least the state government can give us a voice to be forwarded. So I think all of those are the right ways to deal with it. As I said, we're all here for building the ecosystem together, and regulation is one of the ways that it builds together. As long as we can work together and co-create that, I think we can all be better prepared for it.
Harshil, thank you, sir. I'm going to just stick with regulation because that's what keeps everybody awake. So on regulation, is there something that the state can do to collaborate with the fintechs here and be a bit more proactive from our side to work with the central government and work with the regulators at the center so that we represent that voice here from Bangalore? Is there something at a concerted level? Either maybe this is what the COE that we are doing. Maybe this can be one key activity of the COE that they channelize and aggregate and be a bit more predictive and say, you know what, this is what we think could happen, and these are the kinds of regulations maybe we should start thinking about.
No, absolutely, I agree with you. And at least when it comes to Karnataka, you're quite aware that all the policies that are formed here at the state level are done with due consultation with the stakeholders, whether it's the industry or whether it's consortiums or think tanks or civic groups. And that's why we have policies coming out first in the state, whether it's the startup policy, engineering and research and development policy, EV policy, your GCC policy. Everything has been consultative. But there are certain subjects that are the central government and the state government. Unfortunately, this deals more with the central government, but nothing stops us as a state government to talk to the fintech because we are the fintech capital. So we need to take the leadership role in this. We need to consult, which we have been doing with the industry leaders, and we advocate on behalf of the startups, if we think that this is the way forward for it, whether it's the gig economy workers bill, or whether it's the fintech bill or crypto or any of these things, we have been very vocal about it as a government. We have been telling that the industry needs regulations. And it's like Harshil said, like they want to be regulated so that they can prosper, so that they can use better technology, bring in better efficiencies, ensure that credit, insurance, finances are available at the bottom of the pyramid.
The consumer is protected.
Yes, consumer is protected as well. So unfortunately, we don't need artificial intelligence for this. We need common sense. So a consultative process is the only way forward. And I'd like to reiterate the point that the government of Karnataka is here for the fintechs. We will ensure that we will voice your concerns. We will advocate whatever is right to the central government as well, whether it's the RBI, SEBI, IDRI, whatever it is, we need to do that. It's my job.
Thank you, sir. Just one of the areas fintech has, Indian fintech has played a role is not only, of course, being a disruptor here in the country, but taking some of this global. And the Global Innovation Alliance that you've championed has been instrumental in making some of these collaborations possible and taking some of this beyond our shows and getting that cross-border collaborations to happen. What's your view, sir, in terms of what more can we do?
Well, honestly speaking, I'm not doing enough on that front. So that's some homework for us. And although we have close to around 35 countries as a part of our Global Innovation Alliance, we need to do more. So one of the thought process that has come out during this budget preparation is that we ensure we provide soft landings for companies who want to open up fintech or any other.
Tech would be a major focus.
Major focus because
we have something new and something.
Yes, because cybersecurity is a huge issue in this area. So quite naturally, we have homebred startups who can give their services and products abroad. We can ensure that products and services that are abroad come here. So we need to create that soft landing for both our startups abroad and startups from there here. So we are working on some model for that. And I think that will be a game changer for us, because we will be able to, we will be able to ensure the hyper growth for our startups as well. So because every product, every service behaves differently in different markets. Just because you're successful in the subcontinent, that does not mean you'll be successful in the American markets or the European markets. So that kind of soft landing or that kind of nuances is something that the Global Innovation Alliance can work out with from the department. And probably in the next month or a month and a half, we'll be able to come up with a wireframe, yes. So that will ensure that our startups, our fintech companies get global access as well.
Great, sir. Harshil, keeping on the same track of fintech is one area where we have a right to win globally, right? So we have just achieved scale that is unparalleled. We have innovated in areas that are definitely ahead of the curve globally. And you as Razorpay have also gone beyond India. Some learnings, it's never easy when you scale in global markets, new surprises. So, and a lot of startups here who are looking to go abroad and take some of their innovations abroad. Some learnings and thoughts there would.
I think fintech is one such segment where India is not just doing well; it's ahead of the curve. So we are far ahead of even countries like US and Europe in terms of the kind of innovation we have built around, whether it's UPI, whether it's the KYC process, whether it's insurance, whether it's broking. We're doing much better than most of the world. I think that's one area where we cannot just we just don't need to learn from outside. We can take our learnings from here to the other countries. And as Razorpay, we have taken that step. We launched in Malaysia, we launched in Singapore recently, we are in UAE, and all of these markets are looking forward to learn from India. So when we go to these markets like Malaysia and Singapore, they ask us, hey, how has India done UPI? How has India taken distributions that downstream? How can we replicate that? So they're looking forward to learn from it. I think that's an opportunity for Indian fintechs to do more. We have the right kind of talent right here in Karnataka. We have the right kind of infrastructure to build from Karnataka, not just for India, but for the world. And that's one thing that we are focusing a lot on. I think The example I like to give is like most of the global tech companies come from US because internet came from US. So you have Facebook and Google and everything coming from US because if you're successful in US, you're successful in the rest of the world. I think fintech is an area where India can replicate the journey, that because UPI started in India, and now a lot of markets in Southeast Asia and Middle East are trying to replicate UPI's journey. It's an opportunity for Indian fintechs to take that learning global and take that journey into these markets which are still trying to get into real-time payments, they're still trying to build P2P infrastructure the way it has been built in India. I think that's going to be a massive opportunity, and I think both as an ecosystem, the industry as well as the government can play an important role. What Sir said, I think those kind of collaborations can really help, because as fintechs you are building from India, if the government can facilitate those collaborations with other markets where you can learn from those markets and also bring your learnings to those markets, I can play a great role in building a launch pad for Indian companies to launch in these markets.
How did you get started? So when you go to new countries, fintech is regulated everywhere, right? So where do you have to start? What relationships do you have to really build to start in a new country?
I think that's the opportunity as well as the challenge of fintech, that if you go into any market, you can't just build from here and launch. You need to get licenses, you need to get approvals, you need to follow the regulations. And the regulations, while the broad theme is similar in most markets, the way it's implemented is different in different markets. So when we went to Malaysia or Singapore, we had to learn the regulations of those markets. We had to learn how to adopt them to our platform and then apply for those licenses and then launch. In fact, we want to launch in 4 and 5 more countries this year, but we are waiting for licenses in those markets before we can launch. So, and I think that's one area where we look forward to government support there, that if we can build cost-entry relationships, not just with the industries in these markets, but even with regulators in these markets, it can help our companies launch faster. Because when we go into these markets, they treat us almost like a new startup. They don't know how successful or big we are in India. So we have to apply almost like a small startup, telling them what we do, telling how good we are, telling our credentials. But if we get the government support there, it can help us get the backing and the understanding from day one, and it can make the process a little bit more smoother.
Harshil, you are also chairing the vision group the task force for fintechs, and you have a key role to play with the COE. What are some areas you think the COE can pick up? We spoke about regulations, we spoke about these new areas, there's AI. So what do you think the COE can pick up as net new novel areas where we can continue this leadership? Yeah.
I think, first of all, the COE, the way it has been set up, is one of the best examples of public-private partnership, where Fintech Task Force, which was almost all the unicorns, creds, almost everyone, we all came together and gave a recommendation to the government that, hey, if you can create something like this, and we are so thankful to the government, picked it up, set up the infrastructure, and now it's taking the right shape with the efforts of Sanjeev and everyone else. Yeah. And I think one of the most important areas that we had suggested as a part of the policy as well was skilling. One of the biggest reasons people come to set up fintech infrastructure in Bangalore, out of all the places, or Karnataka, out of all the places in the country, is because of the talent density that we have. We have the best tech talent in the world. We have the best infrastructure talent in the world, and hopefully we'll have the best AI talent in the world as well as we are going forward. And I think one of the things that we can do with the government is how do we create the right scaling infrastructure, so that while Karnataka has the lead today, how do we ensure we maintain that lead, so that any future tech company setting up or fintech company setting up anywhere in the country looks at Karnataka as the first hub. I think talent can play an important role there, and I think we can work with the government to design the right kind of scaling infrastructure, the right kind of infrastructure of talent development, so that as the new talent comes into the industry, it's already well prepared and ready to work in the fintech ecosystem. It understands the fintech landscape, and more importantly, going forward, how can we do that in the space of AI? Because almost every fintech company, or every tech company for that matter, would need AI-ready talent in the years to come. How can we work together with the government and the policymakers to ensure that the new talent coming in is already well prepared for that, and we don't have to spend our time and resources in skilling the talent for companies like us.
So I think this will be the big takeaway from this panel. This is music to your ears. I cannot have a meeting with you where you don't talk about skilling, but I think we have to. I think fintech is a very focused area. We already have leadership. There is, because of various angles of AI and cybersecurity. It's a very nuanced, sophisticated area where talent needs to be developed. So I think this is something could be a huge win for you, sir. I mean, I know that you're a champion of.
No, every time I sit with the fintech industry, I get a lot of homework. So
This skilling is a big
two things. Yes, of course. No debating that at all. And you're quite aware that Nipuna Karnataka is
Yes, yeah.
going to be a game changer. We are investing 300 crores in reskilling and upskilling across sectors. So if I may request you as a vision group chairman for startups and Harshil as a vision.
So you're giving me works.
I'm just transferring my load. That's one of the advantages of being a minister. You get some responsibility, you can shift it across to people.
Oh, no, we'll definitely work on this.
So, as the vision group for fintech, also, if you can add two things. One is what you spoke on: how can the government play a role in helping our fintechs establish their presence outside India? So, of course, while we have the GI wireframe, you need to let us know the regulatory wireframe for other countries, whichever countries that the fintechs are interested in, so that when we talk to our GI partners, we will be able to say that these are the compliances that need better ease of doing business, or if you can help them set up some kind of a single window if they're registered companies from by the government of Karnataka or India. So that's one. Number two is, what are the skill sets that is required for BFSI? Whether it's for fintech, whether it's for tech in general, whether it is for cybersecurity in fintech, whether it's for forensics, or whether it is in AI. Because I think one thing is very clear. I am no more positioning Karnataka as an investment destination. We are the skill capital, we are the knowledge capital for the world. And the Nipuna program is very, very agile. So if you can give us a complete blueprint of how to go ahead with respect to skilling in this sector, consider it done.
Thank you, sir. That is very encouraging. And we'll work on this and come back to you. Sir, I think the other dimension of taking stuff abroad is taking stuff deeper into Karnataka and the rural, and bridging some of the rural. And with the Beyond Bengaluru program, we have started to, of course, take Elevate to different parts. Go deeper in terms of the Elevate program that you've championed. What are some of the other initiatives you think we can take up to get more entrepreneurs interested in fintech use cases that are bridging cross sectors, fintech for agri, fintech for rural health, fintech. There's multiple areas. I'll later talk to Harshil on the same cross-sectoral fintech collaborations that can happen, is where I think a lot of nuanced use cases can come, which are very local and very specific to rural Karnataka. And this is where Beyond Bengaluru program can have a lot of use cases for startups. What's your views?
So till now, our focus was in Beyond Bengaluru program. That is, like, it was focused heavily on trying to create incubation infrastructure, trying to create startup ecosystems beyond Bengaluru. And I think we have been largely successful in that. A place like Mysore is now exporting close to around 3,000 crores in IT services. Mangaluru is exporting close to around 2,500 crores in IT services. And that has led to the startup ecosystem also being very agile. So your Mangaluru, Manipal, Udupi belt has more than 500 startups. Mysuru has more than 400 startups. Hubli, Dharwad, Belgavi division has more than 400, 500 startups. So that is picked up. Now, like you rightly said, and this is a conversation that has been happening for across forums, across platforms, wherein we need to go beyond the startup ecosystem. How do we, like you rightly pointed out, how do I ensure the cross vertical or cross sectoral platforms are created? So that has prompted the government to accelerate Beyond Bengaluru program and add a layer of another program called LEAP. So local economic acceleration program that has been announced with 1,000 crore budget. So
thank you for that. So that's a very, very
So that
large budget, and it's very rare a state government puts up 1,000 crores just to take the startup ecosystem beyond urban.
Yeah, so what we're doing is beyond what we did earlier. Before, we would concentrate on creating incubators, creating, collaborations with colleges, with various think tanks. But here now we're going to do what you've suggested. How do I ensure that I create another Mysuru, another Mangaluru? So we have identified cluster like Manipal, Udupi and Mangaluru as one cluster, the HBD as one cluster, Kalburgi as one cluster, and we are going very specific, like you said, agri-tech. We are the Turbol of Karnataka. So here we have already announced agri-tech accelerator. We have given them 15 crores already to start working. In the next probably couple of months, it will be up and running perhaps. So what can we do with marine biotech in Mangaluru? What can we do with automobile manufacturing or electronics manufacturing in Mysuru and Belgavi? Hubli, Belgavi. So we have identified more than 300 acres in Cochinalli in Mysuru. So this LEAP program, I think, will be a game changer, and mark my words, probably in the next 5 years, you will be creating huge cities from where they'll be contributing more to the state GDP. So right now, example, Mangaluru contributes close to around 5.59% of the GDP. How can I ensure in the next 3 years, 4 years, that is at least doubled? And that will only happen when we include just not startups, but we also ensure that across sectors, across verticals, we take technology, we take collaborations, we take manufacturing, we partner with industry, we partner with academics, we improve our skill sets there at the rural areas. So we are doing that, and I think that will be a big game changer for us in the next couple of years.
Thanks. Harshil, just digging a bit deeper on AI, right? So it's no longer just some fuzzy things, I think in very concrete ways, it's disrupting everything that you do in your business. So maybe just couple areas where you're already seeing, material, tangible benefits within Razorpay and with AI.
I think one of the advantages of AI is the ability to hyper-personalize, the ability that you can create a product specifically for one small segment of customers.
Yeah, N of one kind of.
Yeah, N of one kind of. So I think the first wave of fintech mostly was universal, and how can we solve for payments for everyone, insurance for everyone, broking for everyone. I think what AI is allowing us to do is go now more niche. And I think that reduces the cost of servicing and allows us to penetrate not just tier 1, which was the first wave of fintech, but tier 2, tier 3. To what Sir spoke, how can we take the fintech services downstream to tier 3 population? I think that's where you need hyper-personalization, because you can't, like the insurance that works for me in a city like Bangalore doesn't work for somebody in a small town. How can you create and that's where cross-sector collaborations become really important.
Yes.
So if you want to create, let's say, an agri-insurance platform, specifically targeting a specific segment of customers, I think AI can allow us to do that. One of the things that we are doing is, for example, multilingual support. Yeah. So payments, we started supporting multilingual support on payments, where anybody could pay in 14 different languages, supported all major languages in India, where you can, while paying, you don't need to know English to make a payment. You can know any language and make a payment. But how do you take it on the merchant side now? So if you're starting a business today, you still need to know little bit of English to be able to register.
Yeah, how can you lower that barrier?
Yeah, but now with AI, you can do real-time translation. You can do real-time modification of the data, so that as a user, you don't really need to know everything on day one, and you can start using it from tier 2, tier 3 domains. Similar thing that we are seeing on the cross-industry collaboration is payments applied to specific industries. For example, we are working with companies in the EV category who are building charging infrastructure, and the kind of payment use cases that they have
very
on EV side, on charging infrastructure, are very dynamic, where the standard approach doesn't work. You want to pay at the time of charging, you have to pay basis the amount of units you have charged and so on. So the standard approach of payments that works at a fuel station doesn't work in an EV charging infrastructure. I think one of the things that we have started doing to encourage some of these use cases, we set up an investment program called Razorpay Investment Program. We partner with 2 VCs, where we are investing in companies who are building this cross-industry fintech infrastructure. So we have partnered with a company in the AI, in the EV charging infrastructure space. Right. We partnered with a company who is doing the AI-based fraud monitoring ecosystems. We are partnered with another company who's building this for agri-tech, financing infrastructure for agri-tech. So we are trying to go deeper and applying and trying to see how can we use a Razorpay's platform and resources to go deeper for specific sectors and for specific populations where fintech hasn't penetrated the way it has penetrated in tier 1, tier 2 population.
So maybe this is also like a brainstorming for the COE. So we, of course, the skilling and what we can do around skilling. I think this could be a second area, right? So the whole cross-industry collaboration and the role of AI in cross-industry collaboration and taking that customer centricity to the individual and that hyper-personalization could be another focus of the COE.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we could do is, for example, we have a large fintech industry in Bangalore and one of the largest in the world for Karnataka, not just India. We can use COE as a way to invite people from different sectors and
other sectors to
come and ask what do they expect from fintech, what can we
this could be for the COE focus area,
and the government could facilitate that, like just bringing sectors together. And okay, maybe there are problems in agri-tech that I don't understand. I am from the fintech domain.
Correct.
But maybe somebody from agri-tech can come and explain that, hey, if you solve this for me, I can do my business better. We'll be happy. I'm sure a lot of other unicorns in India, in Bangalore, will be happy to build those setups.
Sure. Great, Harshil. So the other pet area of yours, and I've discussed a lot, is IP. We have to dominate again that space, right? So IP is not only important for our startups to collaborate and to protect their intellectual property and do well in India, but be able to do this globally, right? So when you build some of this IP and go global, you cannot be shut out from that industry because you were just naive and did not do the right things in terms of filing for those IP patents. What do you think? And by the way, sir, congratulations. I think we moved moved ahead in the IP as a dominant IP powerhouse. But we really now have to compete globally to say that the amount of IP that's being generated here needs to be recorded. And we have a lot of GCCs. So this is a broader question. I think it's one of those important policy areas that I think we can double down on, sir, in addition to skilling.
Oh, well, I completely agree with you because a lot of, we are a home to close to around 837 GCCs and their units. And a lot of innovation is happening here. I was recently in one of the telecommunication GCCs in Manyata Tech Park for their innovation day. And they said that last year they filed over 4,000 IPs from that campus itself. But unfortunately, everything got registered there because they're a Finnish company, plus they have something in the US and things like that. So, but I was insisting on the same thing that you did. And that is one thing, but I think we need to go a level lower towards the academia, where a lot of incubation is happening. Now the colleges are no more just teaching the regular subjects; they're going beyond. They're giving credits for trying to get projects, trying to innovate. They're running innovation labs within their engineering colleges. So I think awareness needs to be created. There's a lot of research happening, but the number
the highest number of science labs.
Yes, we have the highest number of research papers coming out, but evaluate that with the number of IPs filing, it is not even 15 to 20%.
It doesn't add up.
It doesn't just add up. And I think as a state and as a nation, we need to create more awareness. We need to do, while we are ensuring ease of doing business for investments, we need to ensure ease of filing, recording IPs, research, everything. In fact, that is why the government of, I think no other state in the country runs as many centers of excellence that as I do. We run close to around 30 centers of excellence across sector, whether it's agri-tech to aerospace. And now we are coming this budget. Last month we have announced another 3 centers of excellence in sensor tech. We are coming up with the space policy. We have come up with the GCC policy. And I think we are enhancing our engineering and research and development policy, which will help in IP. Startups, we are reimbursing their money if they are filing for IPs. So we are doing everything, but it's just not enough. I think there needs to be a massive awareness push right from the university level to when they're investing. So if you see our new industrial policy, which we have come out recently, we are saying that if your R&D hub is here, if you're doing research here and you start manufacturing here, you get more incentives. And when you say IPing it here also will get you more incentives. So we are trying, but I think there needs to be a massive push more from the state governments as well as the central government on this issue.
Thank you, sir. Harshil, one of the areas I want Bangalore startups to capture is also the IPO opportunities, right? So we were a bit slow, but now we are starting to see more IPOs from Bangalore. I know Razorpay is thinking of it. So what are some of your priorities and, what's your focus that will get you to that milestone?
Yeah, I think for most companies like ours, IPO is definitely a very important milestone that we want to hit, and I think we want to build it from Bangalore. I think as with any domain, the way I would put it is that I think IPO is not a one-day job. It's not just about listing your company, but also about how do you deliver value to the shareholders over long
For
term.
many years, up to a decade.
For many years. So I think I don't think I don't think we should see it as a race that, hey, who does IPO first and how many IPOs happen from Bangalore first, but who does this well.
No, well put. Yeah, it's not about how many IPOs, but how many will be enduring companies.
Yes. And I'm certain the way companies in Bangalore are being built, we'll do maybe as many or more IPOs in most of the other markets, but we'll do it at our time and we'll do it well. So that it's not just about doing the IPO, but how do we deliver value out of those IPOs. I think there are a lot of companies lined up in that. We are one of those companies. I know Meesho, Grow, PhonePe, a lot of companies are on that path. And I think as a responsible ecosystem, we have taken an approach that, hey, we'll do it at the right pace and we'll do it in the right way, so that it creates value for everyone. And I think in the next couple of years, that question will go away. Bangalore will produce enough or more IPOs, but also at the right value for the shareholders in the entire country.
Yeah, I'm saying as fast as in the next 12 months, I'm hoping a lot of you will.
Just to add to that, I think you will agree with me more than anyone. Always we get these headlines saying that Delhi NCR is leading and we have Hyderabad thing going to IPO. But you look very closely. Ours is a much more mature ecosystem here. While they are chasing valuation, we are chasing value. We are actually solving more real life problems here. And more importantly, the question of deep tech. The reason why our gestation period is, we are not creating just because there is an American version of an e-commerce site. We are not creating a Desi version here. We are actually inventing over here. 30% of all the startups that are registered with government of Karnataka are deep tech. And deep tech cannot be built, is not like a replicated model of e-commerce.
There's a big gestation.
Harshil rightly said that we need to create value. We need to solve a problem. And I think that is where our ecosystem is much, much mature than other ecosystems across the country.
I think I can add, the number of space tech companies coming out of Bangalore, number of AI tech companies coming out of Bangalore is larger than most of the other states or cities in the country. And I think that's because of the ecosystem that we have. And I think a lot of these are hard problems. And as we expect a startup ecosystem to solve hard problems, we have to give them a lot more runway. And I think Bangalore leads the way there, that we have the ecosystem, we have the capital available for people to pursue these hard problems. And if you pursue hard problems, of course, it will take longer time.
Harshil, how's the funding ecosystem when it comes to, I know that there's a lot of capital still available at the early stages, but I'm starting to see this mid-stage gap. When companies are getting to that stage of wanting to raise 50 to 100, I think there were a lot of hedge funds, names which we won't take, but which are no longer in India. Is that being filled by domestic capital? Where do you think some of the capital will come from the slightly later stage?
I mean, you are more of an expert in
that. No, I know the answer, but let me ask.
Yes.
Yes, self-directed.
Yes. But I think we have the largest number of VCs in the country in Bangalore, and for a reason.
So I said this is a recent statistic. 90% of the VCs in India are in Bangalore. Yeah, 90% of the VCs. So I mean, even I was shocked, right? You would say that when you say you're dominating the startup ecosystem, you'll be at 60%, 70%. No, 90% of the VCs being early stage VCs being is really a very dominant thing. Yeah, please.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. And if I meet a VC who's not based in Bangalore, I ask them, why are you not based in Bangalore? Like, what are you doing anywhere else? So I think that goes on to say that how much is the kind of infrastructure that we have, the kind of capital that is available. And yes, I think I think the late stage funding market saw a slight of decline, and that was not related to not even Karnataka or India. It was a global decline. It happened, I think, from 2021 onwards because of various changes in US interest rate policy and whatnot, which affected us. But in spite of that, we still have seen funding pick up this year in terms of a lot of mid to late stage rounds started to happen again in a massive way from the start of this year. I think we'll see that speed up again because of the IPOs and the public market listings that are happening. A lot of exits are being reduced. So as an outcome of that, the capital is going to get redeployed into India. One of the good things that's happening is the rise of domestic capital base, the domestic investor base, a number of AIFs that are getting registered.
AIFs and HNIs now really participating.
A lot of secondary rounds, a lot of rounds are being led by HNIs, and especially in late stage, a lot of secondary deals are happening which are led by HNIs. And I think that's a great outcome for the ecosystem that we have domestic pool of capital. So we are, as going forward, we'll be less affected by these global slowdowns that happened since 2021 onwards, and we'll be more dependent on domestic capital to rise up to the occasion and drive a lot of those fundings. That's already starting to happen in a lot of companies. We'll see that pick up more in the next couple of years. But as I said, you are an expert, so maybe...
I'm starting to see a lot of these 50 million rounds. Like you said, there was a little bit of a dry patch for a year. And I think it's largely driven by a lot of you filing for IPOs, and the later stage capital, is a little bit risk averse. So it doesn't know when, they don't know when these companies will go IPO. But now I think there's a lot more predictability, and even HNIs and domestic capital is a little bit less risk averse. They want to come closer to your 12 months away from IPO, your 18 months away to IPO. That's when they want to come in. So yes, you're right. I think we're starting to see some very good new capital come in to the market there. Sir, on deep tech, I think that's really the next frontier for the country. And there's a lot that the central government is wanting to do in terms of R&D funds and other incentives. Here and Bangalore, like Art Park, has a bunch of specific ecosystem collaboration areas. So in fintech, there is of course Rainmatter that does some amount of fintech funding, Zero that does. You've been collaborating with. What more can the private industry, VCs and other unicorns do to build this ecosystem a bit more in Bengaluru and beyond, sir?
My 2 cents on this is probably, I think the answer should come from you, though.
Today I won't be asking questions.
See, while the VCs concentrate on IPOs, or they pick up startups, or they pick up companies that are that add both financial value as well as value to the ecosystem, the government should concentrate more on, like you rightly said, the research part of it and building this startup ecosystem. So how do I ensure new innovations survive their initial days? I think that is what is more important.
Collaborate more with the early stage Elevate.
So like Elevate.
Maybe co-funding there. And
yes, that will help. In fact, recently when we distributed close to around 100 startups.
So maybe that's for the next Elevate. We can see, do we want to catalyze some amount of co-funding from some of the early stage where they leverage your grant, so you could have a portion of the Elevate be leveraged as a matching fund or something.
So that would be great. See, what happens is till now we have funded over 1,000, close to around 1,500 startups.
Yes.
So be any other state government that
this is a system.
The Elevate grant, I'm not saying it is a huge disruptor or it's going to save the company. It's like a life jacket for them, because once you are an Elevate winner, or you are a Elevate finalist or a semi-finalist, very proudly I have seen startups put up the logo, the government's logo. It brings in a sense of, it gives you that extra minute with another investor. It gives you an extra customer perhaps. And sometimes, of course, the funding also comes in. Most of the grant that we give of up to 50 lakhs, I think a lot of people have appreciated that. And it helps them get to the next round of funding. Like I said, while the VC ecosystem can concentrate on grooming, mentoring, and taking them to their IPO, government, along with the VC ecosystem and along with successful companies like Razorpay, should collaborate in fostering startups, in fostering research, in fostering incubators. So nothing stops us from having, why should I have only one center of excellence? Why can't I have multiple centers of excellence working differently in AI itself, AI in fintech, AI in agri-tech, AI in automobile tech. So, but I am not the expert.
Yes,
the ecosystem needs to collaborate with government institutions. Think tanks need to come together. The consultants need to come together and work on this. So until and unless I have a very wide and large breeding ground for startups, companies will not form.
So I'll take away two things, sir. One, next Elevate.
This Elevate, sir.
No, so this coming Elevate. Let's see if we can do a little bit more collaboration.
That will be a great thing.
Second thing, Sanjeev, takeaway is that for our COEs, and let's start with the fintech COEs, can we have more VC participation? Because that's not there. Many of, I can tell you many of...
Just to give you a perspective, of course, you're aware, just for the people around here, just 2 months back, we distributed 167 crores. Now, if I get a matching grant, a matching commitment of 167 crores from the private sector, it's a game changer. Suddenly, we have 350, 400 crores for innovators to dip into. And who is choosing that? Government is not choosing that. The experts are choosing it. Vertical experts are choosing these innovators. So sometimes maybe they don't need the money. They just need your mentorship. They need your expert.
And they can be selective. So we can just say wherever you think there is value, you put the money, not in every Elevate.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Great. Harshil, Razorpay's future, right? Of course, IPO is just a milestone. Like you said, it's not where everything ends. What are some of the newer areas that beyond the hyper-personalization, are there any new sectors that you're taking fintech to? So anything, what's new next 6 months?
I think two big areas. One is going global, as I said earlier. I think one of the things that we are trying to do, and as I said earlier, like the opportunity for Indian fintechs like us in terms of taking what we have built in India into other markets which have similar problems, I think it's going to be a big driver, and we are taking a lot of efforts. As I said, we want to launch in 4 or 5 more countries. We're waiting for licenses in each of those markets, but as we get those, we'll launch in at least 10 to 12 countries by next year.
Great.
And the outcome of that is to take the leadership position that India has and not just keep it in India, but take it across the world to show that, hey, we can lead the world in terms of fintech innovation, and we are better than most markets in the world there. I think that's one. Second thing is the big focus on AI and how can AI help us create specific product solutions. As an organization, we have spent a lot of time in the last couple of months in making our organization AI first. And I think that AI is a fundamental technology shift that everyone has to be prepared for at an individual level, at a team level, at a company level, because whoever is better using AI in the better way or is better enabled on AI is going to win long term. So it's not just a challenge for Razorpay or for any one company. It's a challenge for the entire ecosystem, because if our ecosystem stays behind, and that's why my push on scaling, that if our ecosystem stays behind even slightly on AI compared to any other ecosystem in the world, long term we are going to lose. So we are putting a lot of efforts from our side in doing that, but we also are now using AI to do our hiring process, for our performance appraisal process and everything. AI is becoming an important factor in that. Like, we are trying to ensure we're not hiring anyone who doesn't understand AI on day one. We're not promoting anyone who doesn't understand AI on day one. So we are putting our efforts to train people, to give them the right tools so that they are ready for the next change that's going to happen with AI. That comes to products as well. The kind of product solutions that you can create using AI are going to fundamentally shift in terms of whether it's simple things like fraud monitoring to onboarding, to customer support, to more complex things like about last week we launched an AI-enabled MCP server where you can connect Razorpay to any AI app and ask questions directly that, hey, what happened to this payment? And the AI app can answer it for you. Those are the kind of unique solutions that are possible. We are the first company in India to launch that because AI is that fundamental shift where we expect tomorrow people are not just going to ask AI to, hey, find me the best flight to Mumbai tomorrow, but they're going to ask the AI, hey, why don't you book me the flight? And I think that shift is just starting to happen. In the next 3-6 months, we're going to see that happen. One last thing that we are spending a lot of time on is that as we are the largest provider of payments for startups in the country, now we're trying to see how can we encourage more startups to come in and build. So we have created a RISE program. And to what Sir said on the Elevate program, one of the most important things is not funding, but recognition. A lot of startups need that space to tell other people that, hey, I'm there and we are building this and want to get their message out. And that's what we are trying to do. How do we give space?
What's the program called again? Just
Razorpay Rise.
Razorpay Rise.
We allow people to apply. We have about 1,100 startups as part of it. We choose, curate, and find the right startups. We give them a sense of community. We give them a mentorship program. We connect them to VCs. But more importantly, we give them the recognition so that they can go out and tell the world that, hey, we are approved by Razorpay Rise. We have got mentorship there and so on. In fact, one of the recent things we did is if you have gone to the Hosur Road, we put up a large digital hoarding. The hoarding doesn't talk about Razorpay. We created that hoarding for startups. So the top 10 startups every month, we pick them and we give them that space. We talk about their services.
Very good initiative.
Yeah. So we allow them to advertise on that for free and allow them to tell what they are doing. So we featured 20-30 startups in the last 3 months. We're going to keep featuring them. In fact, we'd love to collaborate with Elevate and see the top startups in Elevate if we can feature them there as well.
And especially if they take anything, they can feature them there. Great, super. The last 2 questions are going to be slightly tricky questions for both of you, right? Wanted to say, I mean, the MDR thing that, keeps, so what's your view on what's the right thing the government should do there and to make this industry sustainable? And there is a balance between how companies can make money and what customers need to pay. Your thoughts?
I think those are the right questions on both sides. I think it's a lot of growth of our digital payments ecosystem has happened because payments are free. And a lot of small merchants, even you see a Pani Puri wala in Bangalore accepts payments via UPI because he doesn't have to pay.
Can he pay a little bit?
I don't think they should pay. I think but the large volume of UPI payments actually come from large enterprises. It's almost 60 to 70% of the load on the UPI infrastructure comes from large enterprises.
There they can start introducing.
So I understand as the government is subsidizing the UPI transactions for a Pani Puri wala, and I think it makes a lot of sense. But I don't see a reason why they should be subsidizing payments for a Reliance or an Airtel when they are accepting money. So
makes sense.
So I think as long as the large users use, and it's same in every domain, when you do electricity provision, the government provides free electricity for the agriculture sector, but the commercial sector has to pay and has to pay a higher percentage. I think the same logic should apply here. Even on roadways, the tolls that you pay for a bike are free, for a car are small, for a heavy load-bearing truck is larger. I think the same logic should apply to UPI. It's infrastructure like roadways, like electricity. The large users need to pay so that the small users can continue to be subsidized.
So is there already some dialogue on this?
There's been a lot of discussions. There's been a lot of pushes. We are hopeful that it changes sometime, and not for the point of view of the ecosystem, but at some point, I don't think the taxpayer should keep funding and the ecosystem needs to sustain itself.
Sir, if I open up for questions, one of the questions will come is on again Bangalore infrastructure. So I'm going to preempt it and have you talk about, I think one area where we have to continuously as startup, from the startup ecosystem, want to really see is a little, I know the infrastructure doesn't change overnight, but your good office is to continue to push for a little bit of improvements on our infrastructure over time.
Absolutely, whether it's digital infrastructure or physical infrastructure, the government needs to do more, and it's always a work in progress. And this is something that we cannot shy away from. And Bangalore is growing phenomenally fast. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the world. And I was just reading a report that said that for the next decade, Bangalore is going to grow at 8.5% solid minimum. But,
so you have to take beyond Bengaluru even.
Yeah, so like this last year's statistics, while the national average of growth was 8.3%, and the government of India told that we might grow close to around 8.3 to 8.5%. We grew at 10.5% Karnataka. So we are growing immensely. This is where we are creating value. You know that the highest migration absorption is happening in Bangalore. And we have requested the 16th Finance Commission and the Senate government of India
Give us more.
to give us more money so that we can
that's
build
also-
better infrastructure.
Right.
We can create more employment. While the state government has allotted 7,000 crores only for Bangalore this budget, and we have started the B-Smile thing since yesterday. That's always a work in progress. Like you are aware that we are doing more than enough, but this rapid growth is to sustain it, we need to do more. And like you're aware, the policy always plays catch up to these things. So irrespective of cities, whether it's San Francisco, whether it is London, whether it is Delhi, or whether it is Bangalore, but despite all the challenges, otherwise and weather-wise, Bangalore is best.
Yes, sir. But let's keep pushing, sir, on the
Absolutely.
we don't have time. Time's up. Two questions maximum. Yeah, this gentleman here. Oh, is there a mic? There's no mic.
You can take.
No, she's coming. Yes. Yeah, keep your name. Quick, short question.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I am Arun Kumar Manikam. I'm coming from Coimbatore. I was ex-State Bank of India employee. I resigned in 2013, and today I'm doing my loan consulting business at Coimbatore. I individually have done 500 crores of transaction. After doing this 500 crores of transaction, I do not create any a question to you. I want to give a solution for the things you're been talking about. See, the
If you have a suggestion, let's do it offline.
Okay, fine.
Okay, thank you.
You can speak to Mr.
Speak to
Sanjeev.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Question next. The gentleman there with the coat, beige coat. Yeah, he has his hands up. Can you stand up, please? Yeah. Somebody can get a mic there quickly. Is somebody here with the mics? Can we quickly get the mics to the... there was a question here. Next. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. So next here. Thank you. Next. Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm Niranjan coming from Mumbai. I work at a company called Trivi. My question is around the DPDP Act that was released recently. We talk about fintech industry growing at a rapid pace, but financial crimes are also growing at a rapid pace. One of the significant reason is because of personal data being shared, leaked, and even sold through official and unofficial channels mercilessly. Right? One of the curves that could be put is through the DPDP Act. How is the fintech world seeing the Digital Personal Data Protection Act? Is it seeing as a friction, or is it seeing as a happy friction, a way for companies like Razorpay to evolve through privacy and trust?
I do.
You could.
I think that's a fair point, and I think from at least from Razorpay perspective, I'll say, and for most large companies, I'll say it's a good. The DPDP Act is a very important thing, and it was asked from a lot of us at the industry that we need clear set of rules on how data moves around, because most large companies have to be very careful, irrespective of the DPDP Act, to ensure that the customer privacy is taken at the core. But because of the way data moves in a lot of channels, offline channels in the ecosystem, sometimes it becomes hard for us to even do KYC right, for us to ensure that the person who's sharing a Aadhaar card has real access to it and is not got it through suboptimal channels. I think the DPDP Act will go a long way to ensure the safety of the public ecosystem in India, and to ensure that the tools that we rely on today to ensure authenticity of a customer, of a merchant, of the transaction continue to stay resilient. Most large ecosystems in the world, whether it's Europe and other markets, have an equivalent of a DPDP Act. Even the Supreme Court had called it out, and we're glad that finally it is out there, and it's going to create the right kind of boundaries to ensure that customers' personal data, especially in the age of AI, is going to become even more important, that the data doesn't move around without customers' consent. And you have your ability to take away consent from somebody you've given it to before because you don't trust them anymore, or you don't use their services anymore. So I think it's going to be a bedrock on top of which newer form of fintech and AI models are going to get built. So we look forward to its implementation.
Thank you. Last question here. I don't want to...
So, very good morning. I think my name is Ratan Kes. I am from Bandhan Bank. I've been in the banking industry for several years, worked with 4 of the largest private sector banks. Now I'm in Bandhan Bank in Kolkata. We do transform the bottom of the pyramid. We've got 2 crore odd customers.
Yes.
We're really transforming them. So not a question, but couple of observations. It's a fascinating conversation that we observe. Minister so savvy. He knows everything what needs to be done to really promote that.
Yeah, that's what makes Karnataka, Bangalore
That's
different.
absolutely phenomenal. One point I think Minister spoke several times about cyber. The last financial year, we have almost 42,000 crores of fraud happening in the country. If as fintech and companies and the finance companies, we are solving lots of problems, why can't we solve this problem? I think I'm happy to partner with whoever is willing to solve this, because the bottom of the pyramid people are really, really suffering.
Yeah, again, I think in COE, one of the key areas.
So I'll be happy to partner and really see what we can do to really prevent this.
This is a very important thing that you brought up, because I think 70%, 80% of the cases don't even get registered. And even if they're registered, our people are not equipped to handle that challenge. And that is why we have, the government has tied up with Meta, with Cisco to create this huge awareness program, plus also skill building in these areas. What I would request financial institutions like yours, as well as Razorpay, is that we need to build skill sets in cybersecurity as well.
Yeah.
We are the 4th largest technology cluster in the world, Bangalore. That automatically makes us also the biggest technology, cybercrime cluster also. So, and this is not an urban phenomena. After Bengaluru, the highest number of people losing money is in Mandya.
Yes.
Followed by Mysuru and then Belagavi, like this. And it is not like 10-20 crores. They go in thousands of crores. So the government is extremely serious about it. We run a center of excellence in cyberspace. But I just met a startup prior to this who were telling me that the mobile it needs to be guarded as well. We are just safeguarding laptops. We are safeguarding government computers and banking computers. But your mobile is as good as it's accepted. And the previous question about data privacy is something not a government subject only. It's also about you. Indians are very liberal with their data. If you tell 5% discount kortini means it's over. You will give what time your son was born also. So we also need to be careful with our data. Ultimately, it's your data. But right now, whether it's unofficial, official channels, we are getting data everywhere.
Yeah.
So to prevent that, along with the cyber security thing, I think that is something very, very serious, and the government has taken that up as well. So be rest assured that we will also be having the best skill sets to tackle cybercrime in India from Bengaluru itself.
So thank you. This was a fascinating conversation, and thank you for all your input.
Thank you, sir.
Harshil, thank you as always. I look forward to a great conference here. Thank you. Thank you so much.